Welcome back to Tech Talk. My name is Brian, and I'm going to continue this conversation about data centers, or specifically a spin off of the last data center talk. I'm going to start talking about solar power and its billions of dollars that it generates and how you could actually be a part of that as well. One thing that you've probably noticed about my channel is that I talk a lot about investing opportunities as well as technology and try to mesh those together the best of my ability. But I really created this channel just basically to empower individuals and just really trying to help you to change the way you think about income, as well as seeing that technology is one of the biggest means of generating wealth in this century. So with all that said, I'm going to pick up this conversation. So if you saw my previous video, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you right after you watch this video, go and watch it. It was the video right before this. Go ahead and take a look at that. So we spoke about Meta, or Facebook's data centers, right? And one thing we did is we took a look at one of their initiatives, basically to make a positive impact. And it talked about how they invested $16.4 billion. They created 230,000 jobs all between 2010 2019, right? And another thing that they mentioned is the fact that they want to use, zero carbon emissions. So the thing is, they have a lot of solar farms and wind farms and things of that nature. Now, did you know that you could actually rent out, or rather lease out, your land to solar farm developers? So let me say that again. Did you know that you could lease out your land to solar farm developers? If you did not know, now you know. So obviously a company like Facebook probably bought their own land, but a lot of solar farm developers actually just lease the land that they sit on. Again, why spend, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of dollars if you don't have to, right? So that's basically what they do. So what I did was that I basically did a quick study. I'm going to show you just how much money you could generate from just owning some of the land that solar farms are built on. So also, just a note before I get started, or before I move on, basically, if you were to do a search online, you'll see a whole gamut of numbers. It just depends on where your land is located, the demand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But roughly, it seems like you could be paid out $2,500 per year per acre, and the lease is 25 to 30 years. So again, that's residual income. So what I did, and I'm not gonna lie, I got lucky with this first one. I'm gonna show you. What I do is, so I just simply went to Facebook again, their website. And if you notice, they show you where the solar farms are located. So again, there's certain criteria that a solar farm has to have. So notice there's no solar farms in Colorado. It's cold over there. There's nothing in South Dakota. There's none in Wisconsin. But all these other places, to the southeast or whatnot, and to the west, they have solar farms. So what I did is I located one. So I started with Arizona, and I literally got lucky on my first try. So if you notice, so let me show you. So here's a property that's being sold for $70,000. It's 20 acres, right? And if you look at the pictures, like as soon as I pulled it up, I noticed this is literally right next door to a solar farm. There's actually 3 solar farms in this whole area. All of this is a solar farm. This is probably a couple hundred acres, I would assume. But basically, in terms of location, this is prime location because it literally is right next door to a solar farm. So it's an easy sell if you're pitching it to a solar farm developer, because all the infrastructure that they need, being power, a power grid, is already in play. So this one is actually going on sale for $70,000. Oh, look at it. It says, great investment opportunity. Solar farm all around that has expanded in the last 2 years. Excuse me. and is now approaching this 20-acre property. Buyers have been scooping up surrounding parcels in anticipation for expansion of Solar Farm. Mesquite Solar, Arlington Solar, and Palo Verde Nuclear Power all nearby. Invest in energy as the Phoenix and Arizona will be use more power. As Arizona will use more power. So again, this is like prime. 20 acres for $20,000. So again, it's 20 acres. They pay you roughly $2,500, I said, per acre. And again, it won't be set in stone until you actually go to lease agreement. But let's just go with this number. So $2,500 times 20 acres, right? So every year, residually, you'll be making $50,000 a year. By the way, they actually pay the taxes that's generated from the money that's earned from the solar power being sold back to the grid. They set up all the infrastructure. They literally just leasing your land. So look, and in year one, you would make, with this example, you would make $50,000, but the property only costs $70,000. The lease is 25 to 30 years. Let's go 30 years. So in 30 years, you would be able to generate $1.5 million off this property with this example, which is only $70,000. Unbelievable. I got lucky again and I found another property. And again, this one is literally right next door to the other one. So if I open up the interactive map, give it a second to load, you will see that this is literally like next door to that other property. And the solar grid, see it right there? It's just a little bit more south of the other property, or southeast. But look, the solar farm is literally across the road. So this is, again, prime location. I mean, this is crazy. So this is, how much is this one? $120,000. You get 16 more acres. So let's run those numbers. So let's say 2,500 times 36. So this particular property with this example would pay you $90,000 a year for you not doing nothing. By the way, you could even finance this land. So even if you were to give $10,000 down, in a perfect world, they wanted to lease your land, by the end of the year, you could be in the positive. So $90,000 a year, and let's go for 30 years. That's $2.7 million that you have the possibility of earning over 30 years. Now, tell me that's not generational wealth. And again, in 30 years, who knows? When they may redo the lease, it may be more money. But even if not, that's $2.7 million that you can leave to your grandkids or great grandkids. Now, let's kick this example up a little notch. Now, this one is not located by, there's no solar farm nearby, right? However, in this area, this is another area that Facebook has one of the solar farms. So this is not the exact area, but the reason I chose this is, again, if you can notice on the map, there's houses and there's buildings, which means that there's power around. Also, it's kind of too small to see, but if you look to the left here, you'll be able to see power lines. So again, they have a grid that's nearby, right? So this one is a little bit more pricier. This is the big boy. This is the big boy stuff. This is what I like. So this is available for $3.5 million today in Andrews, Texas. And again, I found this on Facebook's website. They have a solar farm nearby. This one is 188 acres. And by the way, solar farm developers pretty much prefer properties that are 10 acres or more. So this one is 188 acres. So let's run those numbers. So at 188 acres, if you were getting paid $2,500 per acre, you would be making $470,000 a year residually. Times that by 30 years. Tell me this isn't how generational wealth is created. So for investment of $3.5 million over a period of 30 years, you would generate some $14 million passively. I don't even know what to say after that. Please, if you haven't watched the previous video, go and watch that. Watch the one before that, and then watch this one. Like, no way if you were to receive a bounty, no way possible you should be broke in a year or two. Generational wealth is easy once you know what to do with money. Once again, my name is Brian. I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget, like, share, comment, post, share with your whole family.